My dear brothers and sisters, I wish to welcome you to the 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time. Today I will talk about welcome, I will talk about washing, I will talk about doing, I will talk about blessings. Let's go to the first one. In the readings we have today, we understand basically that from the first reading, the book of Deuteronomy, we are invited to welcome, to accept, and to accommodate the Word of God. And this Word of God is also the law of God. And this law of God is also the commandment of God, because God is inseparable from His Word. Our hearts is the abode of God's presence. So it is important for us to welcome His Word, welcome Him. And in fact, Moses will say in the first reading, do not add or subtract. God is already perfect. We don't need to add anything or subtract anything from what He has taught us. The only thing we need to do is to remain loyal and to follow His commands. The second point for reflection, brothers and sisters, is to wash our hearts. The presence of God is already implanted in us. God is already present in each and every one of us, saints and sinners. What's important is to clean up our hearts so that this presence will be made manifest. Just like those who are hunting for treasures. Sometimes the treasures are buried right inside the soil. So you need to clear the soil. Or those who also work in where golds are purified. You need to remove the dust. You need to remove certain things in order for the gold to shine out. So God is present in you. The commandment of God is present in you and in me. We only need to remove everything that is blocking, this presence, so that our positive outlook will come out. We have to clean, we have to remove, so that the effect of the Word of God will be made manifest in our lives. So remove all the dusts, remove everything blocking the manifestation of the Word of God, the commandment of God in you, so that you can experience also the fullness of this presence. So remove them and let us begin to work on ourselves. Pope Francis will say, do not blame other people, because those who came to Jesus today in the gospel, the scribes and the Pharisees who complain, why are your disciples eating without washing their hands? Sometimes in the words of Pope Francis, sometimes we think that our problem is from the outside. No, our problem is right inside us. So it will be unjust to start to blame other people always. Can we try to blame ourselves? Can we look inside ourselves and find out that we may be the problem that we are having? The problem in our family may be because of us. The problem that we're having in the office may be because of us. So if we are able, if we are courageous, confident, and honest enough to look inside ourselves, we will see clearly that we may actually be the problem. Because Jesus says that what defiles us does not come from outside. Rather, it comes from within us. So the invitation today is that we should stop, blaming other people. We should stop shifting blame to the government, shifting blame to those in secular authorities and religious authorities. Let us ask ourselves this basic question. As a person, what have I contributed? As a person, what have I given? As a person, what can I do to make my family, my society to become better? Let us stop shifting blame. The problem does not come from outside. The problem is right there from us. So the defilement, as Jesus said, the problem is from within us. For instance, when you talk about mortal sin and venial sin, the difference is that the mortal sin is premeditated. You have the freedom, you have the volition, you have the knowledge, yet you go ahead to do it. So most of the sins we commit actually come from within us because we thought about them before we actualize them. So let us look inside ourselves. It's all about washing our hearts, not just our hands. And by the way, the ritual washing of the hands is not basically about hygiene. It has something also to do with discrimination, because a typical Jew believes that when he goes to the market or when she goes to the market, it is possible that he or she may have touched the money, touched also by a Gentile, or maybe when there are so many people in the marketplace, maybe your body touched the body of a Gentile. So any kind of contact with someone who is a non-Jew makes you unclean. So that's why when you come back, before you eat anything, you need to wash. So that's also an aspect of this ritual cleansing. It has nothing to do with cleaning the heart. It has nothing to do with hygiene, but it has a little bit all to do with discrimination. And this discrimination comes from within us. When we begin to think that I am better than you because I am this color, or because you are this color, or because I'm educated, you're not educated, or because I'm from here, you are not from here. When we begin to discriminate and we allow racism to control us, so all these things come from within us. All these mortal sins, they come from within us because we usually think about them before we do them. So if my heart is dirty, my words and my actions will also be dirty. And that's why Jesus invites us today to wash our hearts first. If we are able to wash our hearts so that the presence of God in us will be made manifest, so that the presence of God in us can control our thoughts, our words, our actions. You see, so this is why it's important, it's very fundamental for us to really wash our hearts. And how do we wash our hearts? Jesus in John chapter 20 from verse 21 to 23 gave us the sacrament of reconciliation. When was the last time you went for confession? That's one of the basic ways we wash our hearts. The third point for reflection, brothers and sisters, is to do the word. St. James in the second reading today tells us to do the word. Don't just say, okay, the word of God is in me. I have heard the word of God. After you recognize the presence of the word of God in you, after you receive the word of God in you, what next did you do? Did you observe it? Did you keep it? It's not just about being passive as Christians. It's all about using and putting into use the word of God. And the responsorial psalm today tells us how we can do that. We have to show justice to other people, to the orphans, to the widows, to the poor. We have to be careful in the way we speak to other people. We have to respect other people. So by doing this, we are keeping and doing the word as St. James invites us to do today. And remember what we read in the first reading. There are blessings that will come to us if we are able to keep the commandments of God. We shall live abundance of life. We shall take possession of God's blessings in our lives. God has blessed you so much, but sometimes because we are not in relationship with God, sometimes our blessings elude us. So if we are able to bear witness by keeping the word of God, our blessings will come to us. I wish you happy Sunday and happy new month of September.